Hello there everybody, this is Owen at Press Start to Continue, and today I want to do something a little bit different to what I normally do, and I wanted to share with you my top 10 games of 2014. I personally thought that 2014 was a bit of a lackluster year really for gaming, especially when you consider you had Xbox One and PS4, their first years, but there was still some really good games, but a lot of the really good ones all got pushed back to 2015. Things like The Order 1886. You had Tom Clancy's Division, Batman Arkham Knight. I mean, they're just to name a few. There's definitely more which I can't remember at the moment. Also, a lot of the really good games that did come out in 2014 were, let's say, disappointing. Is probably a fair way of saying them. Assassin's Creed Unity, Watch Dogs especially. So there was some disappointment, but there were still some really good games in 2014 as well. Now, in my list, I will say I'm not going to be including any remakes. So, Last of Us, GTA 5, sorry, you're both awesome games, but you're not going to be on this list because you originally came out in 2013. There are going to be some really good games I haven't played, so I'm sorry in advance that they're not going to be in this list. But Dragon Age Inquisition, Far Cry 4, I have not played you yet, so you're not going to be in this list, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. But other than that, here is what I think are my personal top 10 favourite games of 2014. Feel free to disagree if you like. Put it in the comments below if anything you think I've missed. But yeah, here we go. My number 10 choice is technically not actually a game, it's actually a demo. And it's a demo PT, or as I like to call it, a playable teaser. This demo is actually a demo for the upcoming Silent Hill game called Silent Hills. Now, this demo was done really well, which is why it has made my list. I love my survival horror games, and I'm a huge fan of the Silent Hill series. So as soon as I heard it was a Silent Hill game, I was really excited. But the way it was done was why it's so high on my list. It is actually on my list at all, despite the fact it only being a demo. Is because despite it's a demo, it was when it was actually announced. It was announced at E3 2014, and they actually basically just someone came out and announced this new demo. Didn't mention who it was, but the people that they said made it was a studio called 7780 Studio, which no one's ever heard of. Then they released this playable teaser called PT, and everyone was just basically saying it's really scary, play it. So I played it, and it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. One of the scariest things that I've played in a long time, and definitely one of the best demos I've ever played as well. And playing through it, really difficult as well. Like some of there was like lots of little sort of cryptic puzzles in there as well, which were really well done. Some of it you may say is a little bit too difficult. Like some of it was really obscure what you want to do. Like a bit towards the end, you had to make a baby laugh 3 times, and one of the times to make it laugh was you had to take 10 steps and then stop and wait for the baby to laugh, which is pretty difficult to figure out. But it is also still quite cool because it has I do like games with good puzzles in there, which you use your brain, and it's not just, oh look, let's just push these buttons. Oh, I've done the puzzle easy, which was really cool. And yeah, like I said, it is really, really terrifying. I mean, there's only a single enemy in there. It's the ghost, which you find out her name is Lisa, and is basically stalking you throughout the demo. And yeah, she is really, really creepy. There's loads of other weird images, creepy things going on throughout the thing as well. Like you keep hearing babies crying or laughing, and all this other weird imagery as well. And it's just done really, really well. The story there's not much about the story. All it seems to be is you don't really even know who you're playing as. You're just walking around this like L-shaped corridor, going in various loops. And as you keep going through, things keep changing ever so slightly. Sometimes they change a lot as well, and the more you go through, the more the story unfold. But it seems to be that the character you're playing as looks like he's murdered his wife and 2 children, and his wife was pregnant at the time, and that's all we really know. It seems like it might be in purgatory or something like that. I mean, if it's as a Silent Hill game, that's probably what it's going to be. Sort of, it symbolises, because like a lot of the previous games had that symbolic nature where like they're stuck in some sort of weird purgatory or something like that. Especially like Silent Hill 2. That was sort of what it was, sort of one of the things it was all about. So yeah, the story's pretty cool. I mean, the only thing is though, they've actually said this demo is not actually going to have anything to do with the storyline of Silent Hills when it comes out. So, but I mean, just this taste is really cool. I mean, it looks amazing. It's using the Fox engine, the Fox engine that the new Metal Gear Solid game is going to be using. It's done by Konami as well. And the people that are linked to the game, there's got Hideo Kojima, which again made some Metal Gear Solid games. You've got Guillermo del Toro, who's a massive horror director, and you've also got the actor Norman Reedus, who's also better known as Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead. So it's got these three elements all going to be incorporated into the game as well. So after playing this demo, I'm now really looking forward to this game. And because it's got that massive hype for the game for me now, and I think for a lot of survival horror fans out there as well, because like I said earlier, I love survival horror. I especially like Silent Hill. Silent Hill 2 especially is one of my favourite games of all time. So if you haven't tried it already, the demo is completely free. It should still be on the PlayStation Network. It is only on PS4, so go download it, give it a try if you really want something really creepy and scary, which is just going to make you shit your pants. My number 9 slot for games of 2014 is The Evil Within, directed by the legendary Shinji Mikami, who also created the Resident Evil series as well as then Resident Evil 4. I feel The Evil Within really brings back what used to make survival horror games so great. Because apart from some really good indie games, things like Slender, Amnesia, stuff like that, most AAA survival horror games have been fairly weak these past few years. I mean, look at the Resident Evil series, it's gone massively downhill. The Silent Hill series, barring hopefully the latest Silent Hills, they've massively gone downhill. Even some good ones that have come out recently, like Fear, Dead Space, the first one or two were really good, then the third one came out and it just went to shit as well. So I felt that Evil Within really brought back actual scary game. The only other scary full game, not including P2, which we've already mentioned, the only other good sort of survival game that I felt came out this year, which is also a great game, was the Old Night Station. It's nearly made my number 9, but I did decide I preferred the Evil Within out of the two. The story is a bit weird, doesn't quite make sense in places. Basically, it revolves around the lead character, Detective Sebastian Castellanos, who is a detective who's had some sort of tragedy happen to him. I won't say what, because it does sort of go through it throughout the story as why he is the way he is. He's basically sent on an assignment with his partner Joseph and rookie cop Kidman, who gets sent to a mental asylum where there's been multiple homicides. You go and investigate, and then there's there's dead bodies everywhere, and then you get attacked by this weird ghost. And when you wake up, you find yourself hung upside down with a big scary man chopping stuff up. As you're trying to escape, he then chases you down with a chainsaw, tries to kill you, and then everything just gets really fucked up. And the rest of the game just carries on, and to be honest, a lot of the time I didn't really know what was going on, but because I was still enjoying the gameplay and how the game was actually playing out, I still actually enjoyed the game. Despite, like I was saying, I didn't actually know a lot of the time. For like the first 75% of the game, I was like, huh? What's happening? There just seems to be weird stuff happening all the time. But I still enjoyed it. It had some really cool moments in there. There was loads of different places that you travel to throughout the game. And what I quite like, it didn't feel disjointed like, say, Resident Evil 4, despite the fact it's an amazing game. It feels very disjointed in places. Like, you go to a village, and then there's the church, and then there's the bit at the end with the guys with all the guns and stuff, and it just feels like it shouldn't be all part of the same game. Whereas this one, it worked because the whole story is basically, it seems to be, again, I won't ruin it for you, but it seems to be sort of in someone's mind. But because it's done that, and because it's like the whole idea is that it's all about sort of people going crazy and stuff like that, they do really cool ways of making you travel to a new area. Like there's one part in the game when you're on this like walkway and it crumbles and it falls down, you're falling down this big pit, and all of a sudden, rather than just splattering onto the floor, you roll along the floor, and then the camera pans up and it turns out you're actually standing up. Which is it looks really cool. And it does these cool little effects throughout the game quite often as well. The gameplay as well, I really liked. It actually felt like survival horror. You don't get much ammunition, you don't get much health. You have to be very careful with it. Very reminiscent of like The Last of Us, which came out obviously recently as well. Which again I really liked. I like having sort of the extra scares, like I've got to be really careful with my ammo, or do I sneak around this enemy, stuff like that. I feel them sort of game types for survival horror has been missing, and I really like that has also come back. The game, before, it looks pretty good. It doesn't look amazing. There are some frame rate issues, especially textures loading as well when you go to new areas, new screens. But the monster designs look really cool, especially the bosses. Some of the bosses look amazing. One boss in particular is one I favourite, is the weird spider woman. Really creepy, one of the scary bosses that you have to face in the whole game. So yeah, I really liked that part of the game. I'm really interested as well to put DLC coming out for it soon, so I'm pleased that I want to play more of the game, more story in there as well. But I mean, as long as you like sort of Resident Evil 4-esque survival horror games, then I'm think you're going to like one. I'd give it a try if you haven't. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one, despite its flaws. So my number 8 choice is the latest Zelda spin-off, Hyrule Warriors, which is brought to us to the same guys as brought us the Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors games. Two games that I have found very fun. I've been playing them since the original Dynasty Warriors 2, and I tend to get them every time they come out, because although they're a bit basic, it's just going around hacking people up, I've always found them immensely fun. So adding that element of gameplay with the Zelda series was a great combination. The story is outside of the official Zelda timeline, and basically there's a evil sorceress called Chia who has raised an army of monsters to try and take over Hyrule, and Zelda and her captain Impa, who you know we've seen in other Zelda series, are trying to find the hero who has a Triforce of Courage, as everyone knows is always Link. Then Link's character actually starts off as just a trainee guard who comes out in this first battle, kicks ass, kills loads and loads of bad guys, and then discovers he actually has the Triforce of Courage. It then continues on from there. You find out it just incorporates lots of different enemies and good guys from different Zelda games, which is what I quite like about this, because although it's out of the official timeline, it does bring in elements from big games like Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, and also Skyward Sword. And it also brings several, like I was mentioning earlier, goodies, baddies, as well as just sort of little henchmen as well from these various games, which I really like. So you have like Midna in there from Twilight Princess, you have Fi from Skyward Sword, you have Ruto from Ocarina of Time. You've also got loads of bad guys in this, like Ganondorf is in here, and in fact the entire story is actually Ganondorf is behind everything that's gone bad, and like Chia turning evil and trying to take over Hyrule. It's all orchestrated by Ganondorf. So I really like this story element in there. I mean, it's nothing that much different to any other Zelda game, but it's nice that it incorporates all these other things from the other Zelda series. There's also, like I was mentioning, the gameplay is very Dynasty Warrior-esque. So you do go in and just fight. Like, you kill, on most battles, you're going to be killing like over 1,000 enemies every turn. But you also do get, like, every so often you get like the little sub enemies. you also get like the big boss, like I've already mentioned, like Ganondorf, stuff like that. But what I also quite like as well is they also have like big, huge enemies. One of my favourites is King Dorongo, who is I believe was from Ocarina of Time. So it does have quite a few of these big ass enemies, which you have to do, use special abilities to take them out. And there is also another little twist on the gameplay as well. It's not just your basic hack and slash like normal Dynasty Warriors. You do also use elements from the Zelda games. So you get to use bombs to clear debris and take out certain enemies. You get to use the bow and arrow. You get to use the hook shot. All these different stuff in there, which is quite a nice way to give that extra sort of fan service to the Zelda series. And there's a lot of other really good fan service to Zelda's games as well. So not only do you have the enemies and you have the weapons and stuff like that, you also have things like the Great Fairies are back in there from previous Zelda games. You've got the gold Skulltulas as a collectible, which have to be done throughout the game to earn extra bonuses and stuff like that. So all these little things, just if you're a big Zelda fan, then you'll really like this. And even if you haven't played a Dynasty Warriors game before, you'll probably enjoy this. What I really like as well, it's got 2-player co-op, so you can play one player on the Wii U pad, and you play another player on the TV. So there is a shame there's no multiplayer, sort of online multiplayer that is. But the fact you can have 2-player local multiplayer is fun. I do like that. Although there is a few sort of frame rate issues with the player who has the Wii pad, but that can be forgiven. It's not that bad, to be honest. I also like as well, you have a lot of, you've got the classic story mode, which is fairly big. There's quite a lot of missions in there. You've also got the other thing that I find most fun, which is absolutely like tens, maybe even over 100 hours of gameplay, is the adventure mode, which basically gives you a map based on the original Zelda game, like in its classic NES 16-bit graphics, and you go around the map and you have different missions that you can do, which unlocks again more weapons, new characters as well, stuff like that. And some characters do have multiple weapons as well, like Link has Master Sword, normal sword. He also he's got like the big gauntlets. He's got the fire rod, stuff like that. Zelda also has multiple weapons. She has like a rapier sword, but she also has the Wind Waker weapon as well, which is pretty cool. So it's got these like extra little weapons in there too. So I mean, in all, it is a very fun game. Some people are definitely not going to like it because it is. Some people might find it repetitive, but I think if you are a fan of Zelda games, this is definitely going to be up your street. My number 7 choice is one of Ubisoft's titles of this year, Child of Light. Now this game looks absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the prettiest games I've ever seen on any format. And it's not just the graphics that are really just look stunning as well. Like the story's cool, like it's very fairy tale-ish, like sort of almost like a Disney film. And it's just got loads of really good elements in there. The story evolves around the character Aurora, who is a young girl who is been risen by her father as a princess, but she falls into a deep sleep, into a coma. But when she awakens, she finds herself in this mystical land of Lemuria, which is filled with all these strange creatures and all these weird locations and stuff like that. And she is sent on a quest while there to try to defeat the Queen of the Night, and who has stolen the sun, the moon, and the stars. And once she's found all of that, then she will be able to finally go back home. So, I mean, all of that, it sounds exactly like something you would hear in a fairy tale or a Disney movie or something like that. And yeah, just everything else about it feels the same as well. Like I was saying, the animation style is beautiful. It uses the same animation that used for the Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends game, called the UbiArt framework. So it basically looks like someone has just painted everything onto a screen. That's how good it looks. And it's not just the artwork of the actual level design and things like that, but it's the characters as well. Obviously, like I said, you play the character Aurora. You've got like a little small fairy sidekick called, I think I'm pronouncing this right, Igniculus. It's quite a weird name, but he helps you in your travels as well. But you also find lots of other interesting characters in the world. There's like a strange jester, there's a dwarf wizard, there's a mouse who shoots bow and arrows at people. I mean, what's not to like about this? All these different characters. And the enemy designs look really great as well. Some of them are quite dark and creepy as well. Like you've got big giants, you've got creepy giant spiders attacking you. You've got ghosts and banshees and giant sea serpents, with some of the really cool boss fights that are in this game. It's just like the whole game just looks absolutely amazing. Everything. The actual gameplay is also surprisingly good as well. When you first see it, it just looks like a side-scroller, like a side-scrolling platform game. And at first you obviously have to do different puzzles to get through different places. But then you get into the combat when you're actually encountering an enemy, and it turns into an RPG. And it's not a basic RPG. It's quite like you compare it to some of the other really good turn-based RPG games like Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger and other sort of great RPGs like that. It's actually quite in depth, the gameplay in the actual combat. So you have you'd have a time bar for each character, and depending on what sort of, as it goes up, when it gets to the top, you choose what move you're going to do. Depending on what attack you do, it's how quickly the last little bar moves up, and you can actually interrupt other enemies' attacks. So if you hit an enemy just as they're about to attack, it will actually push them back further down into the line. And you can do different moves because it will the jester, for instance, is really fast. His attack speed will be really quick. Whereas there's if you do certain spells, it takes a lot longer. So it's quite cool. These other different elements in the actual combat system in there as well. And it's also the level up system is really good on there as well. So you've got each character has their own sort of tree tier progression, where you can go in different ways to level up certain abilities. So when I used Aurora, I leveled up mostly her attack power because she has the big sword, and that's how I found her best to be used as. But you can choose to go a different way, and you could do more magic based and stuff like that. So it's just and the fact you get so many different characters throughout the game as well. I think there's about 6 characters in total that you can change between. There's always when you start unlocking more, you get 2 you can use at a time. You can switch between any of them characters. So yeah, the whole combat system is really good in there, and yeah, I mean, if you like RPGs, you're gonna love it. You're gonna enjoy this game. The only thing I would say, some people might get annoyed with the script at times. It's because it's a storybook tale. It's all rhyming as well. I quite liked it. I thought it was quite endearing and quite sweet. Some people though might get a bit annoyed by that after a while because it does happen quite a lot as well, especially when you introduce these new characters and things like that. But I thought just the whole game was really beautiful, really sweet, nice game, and it tends to be nowadays there's not enough of them sort of really nice games out there. My number 6 choice is another Nintendo outing, and it's the latest in the Mario Kart series, Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. And I mean, I've always loved all the Mario Kart games ever since the original on the Super Nintendo. And the Mario Kart games, just in general, are such great games because they're always really fun to play, especially playing with your mates and stuff like that. And Mario Kart 8 is no exception. It's still just a really fun game. You've got, I mean, it looks great as well. That's one of the great things about Mario Kart 8. It does look fantastic. The new levels on there, so you've got loads of new level designs in there, which all look really cool, as well as loads of the old tracks from old games. So you've got GameCube versions of missions in there. You've got DS ones, all sorts of the old classic ones, all been remastered onto the Wii U. And again, they look really good as well. The character models, again, all look awesome. You've got loads of characters to choose from in there as well. Yeah, they all look really great. There's a lot to do as well in Mario Kart 8. You've obviously got your versus mode, all the old sort of staples of Mario Kart games. Well, actually, you've got your versus modes. One of the things I find most fun is the Grand Prix mode, where obviously just like before in other Mario Kart games, you choose one of the Grand Prix and you do 4 tracks in that Grand Prix, and whoever gets the most points at the end wins. Nice and easy. The good thing about the new Mario Kart Mario Kart 8, you've got, rather than most previous Mario Kart games only have 4 Grand Prix, this one's actually got 8. So in total, that means there's 32 tracks in this game, which I believe, from what I can think of, is the most tracks that's ever been in a Mario Kart game. I can't think of one that actually had more tracks than this. So that's obviously a massive bonus, having loads of tracks to choose from to race in. You've got obviously a new Mario Kart game. It's going to have a new gimmick in there of some sort. And on this one, you've got a few new stuff in there. You've got ATVs you can use as a new vehicle. So you've got the karts, the bike, and ATVs now. My favourite is still the bike to use, but you've got that option for the other kart. You've also got some new weapons in there. You've got the Crazy 8, which gives you like 8 different items that you can use. I know you've got like a mushroom in there, green shell, red shell. I think one of them is a star power. There's a few other ones in there as well. You've also got the boomerang flower, which is a boomerang essentially, which is pretty good. And you've also got the super horn, which is a new item, which is the only way, it's the first time ever you've been able to block a blue shell. So that's a pretty handy item to have. Other new things in there as well. The big new thing is the anti-gravity parts in certain tracks. And on this mode, you can go up walls, you can go on the ceilings, you can do all these different sort of crazy things. And what I really like about that is it's especially cool in the old tracks which have been remodeled onto the Wii U. So obviously you've seen them in the older Mario Kart games, but when they've been redone onto the Wii U version with the new anti-gravity stuff, it gives sort of a new dynamic to them tracks, which is again always a plus. Having that, just making the old tracks new again is really cool. You've also got a lot of multiplayer modes on here as well. So just like other Mario Kart games, you can have up to 4 players playing offline locally, which is always a plus. I love my local multiplayer games. I don't think there's enough of them, so this is just another great example of a good local multiplayer game. You've also got your online multiplayer as well, which on this mode is up to 12 players, which again, awesome. And you can still have 2 players locally playing online with up to another 10 people, which again is really good. It's a shame you can't have 4 people, but I suppose that'd be a bit too much. But the fact you've got the option to play 2 people online with another massive group of people is a really good bonus. I would say really the only bad thing I could think about this game is the fact I don't like some of the character choices they've got in this game. I mean, obviously you've got loads of the classics, which are great: Mario, Luigi, Yoshi. My favourites are Wario and Donkey Kong, always have been. But some of the other character choices are a bit shit in my mind. Like you have Metal Pink Peach, which is a bit of a lazy choice. You have Baby Rosalina. I mean, I'm happy with normal Rosalina, but Baby Rosalina's like, what's the point? And you have all 7 of the Koopalings. And again, it's just like, why do you have all 7 Koopalings? But there's no Bowser Jr. Despite the fact Bowser's in it. It's just like, it's just a bit of a weird choice for me. And also another gripe I have with this game is the battle mode. The battle mode is a bit shit as well. So in all the old Mario Kart games, you had like specific battle maps for the battle mode. On this one, they've just taken racetracks from the main game, and then you do the battle mode in there, which is a bit lazy, I found. But I mean, other than them gripes, everything else about Mario Kart 8 is just brilliant. Like I said before, great fun game. If you played the old Mario Kart games, play this as well, definitely. You're going to love it. And if you just love playing games with your mates, again, it's a great one to play. Hey guys, thanks for watching the first half of my top 10 games of 2014. Stay tuned to subscribe to my channel so you can check out the next part when I'll be announcing my number 5 down to my number 1 choice. And also you can check out all our other videos here at Press Start to continue. And I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks a lot. Bye.